Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the April 8th, 2025 regular meeting of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. As we begin each evening, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, Ms. Hennikel, if you could do roll call for us, please.
Ms. Fortney.
Here.
Dr. Royer.
Here.
Mr. Hamburger.
Here.
Mrs. Miles.
Here.
Mrs. Zimmerman's not here this evening. Mr. Pence.
Here.
Ms. Straight.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Marvin.
Here. All righty, next, we have the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That will then bring us to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was 3/25/2025. Is there a motion to approve the attached minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion or corrections from last meeting? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. That brings us to our superintendent report. Sherhine.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. Last time we had the privilege of honoring all our winter athletes. And what I neglected to do is to recognize Dr. Holtzman. He received a award through PASBO, the David L. Nett Leadership Award in March. And this award recognizes Dr. Holtzman's outstanding contributions and exemplary leadership as the president of the Lincoln Area Regional Chapter of School Business Officials. So may I quote, Eric's calm demeanor, commanding control of meetings, and deep knowledge and experience of the field have earned him the respect of his colleagues. His commitment to excellence in school businesses throughout Pennsylvania is deeply appreciated. We believe this achievement reflects positively on your organization, and we want to make you aware of this well-deserved award. So congratulations, Dr. Holtzman.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing it here versus
It was a huge auditorium. Also, we celebrated the class of 2038 kindergarten registration last week. So we had 254 students register for kindergarten. The 41st Annual Science Fair was a huge success at WAMS. Big thank you to the tireless work of Mrs. Catherine Myers and Mrs. Sarah Hodge, as well as an entire team for being the driving force. There were over 291 projects submitted. Also, the WASHS will be hosting a First Choice Career Conference this Thursday. The panel discussion format is facilitated with speakers from approximately 6 different career clusters, and speakers will be broken up into groups. 16 career clusters representing the 6 groups, and they'll be broken up into groups, and students will be there participating in the pathway of their interest. So very excited about that opportunity. And today, the Waynesboro School District accepted a check for $7,424.48 as a result of the giant Roundup community drive. So big thank you to the community for coming to the local Martins and rounding up. So, and Mrs. Fortney represented her the Giant Corporation, Martin's Corporation, and presented the check this morning. So thank you so much for everything and appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. That will then bring us to our public comment portion. We do have a public comment. So Ms. Domino, Oh, I apologize. If you could properly state your name at the mic and your address for our record. And then for all public comment, we do limit it to 5 minutes. And so that is something Ms. Hennikel will do as well. So please, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Kathleen Davison Domino, and my address is 11281 Weatherstone Drive, Waynesboro, PA 17268. WASD has achieved the exceptional in WAMS and WASH's all-school productions, credited theater classes, and theater club. My own two children recently enjoyed playing Charlie Bucket and Augustus Gloop in the WASH's production of Willy Wonka. And my daughter will tell you that the WASH's Theater Arts 1 and 2 with Christelle Ruzicka are her favorite classes. WAM's all-school productions were the highlights of middle school, and Theater Club is the best way to conclude a Friday at WASH's. As part of a regional arts initiative to expand understanding and appreciation of the theater arts, my company, Painted Saint Entertainment, would like to make an investment in our local schools, recognizing the impact they have in educating future generations and the community at large. If it's so good, what could possibly need improving? A great question. Tradition is a powerful thing, and change can sometimes feel intimidating or unwelcome. Part of the beauty of the local tradition in Waynesboro is the determination to create and sustain theater. You don't have to have a degree or specialize in the arts to put on a good show. If the seats are filled and the audience leaves happy, what's more is there to discuss? I would like to target 3 small tweaks that could greatly benefit the existing phenomenal creativity with minimal effort, elevating integrity, safety, and education. The first thing is promoting artistic integrity. Would you teach that it's okay to steal? Of course not, right? A no-brainer. That's the lesson, though, that we're teaching every time copyright laws are violated and put on display in a production, usually completely unintentionally. The audiences marvel when aspects are just like the movie, and while copying may be a form of flattery, this one is illegal. Whether borrowing from production design elements, performance, altering script, or using copyright-protected media and costuming. The heart of the art is bringing to life an original interpretation rather than replicating. The good news is a little education and redirection provides an easy fix. Not only would this serve our arts community and regional reputation, but it also teaches an invaluable lesson for all career pursuits. Additionally, implementing these principles protects WASD and all the participants in performance undertakings from liability, which is implicit in school shows as well as outside productions hosted in school facilities. Number 2, education and safety protocols. Would you risk life or serious injury for art? Educational arts aim to provide fun and safe artistic adventures, which many will cherish as the highlights of their schooling years. Some of the highest safety stakes in the theater rest in the mechanical and operational workings. WASD has not been impervious to these risks, which can be greatly reduced with regular maintenance and production consultation from qualified professionals. This ensures that faculty decision makers have an optimal understanding to equip them in guarding safety. Number 3, strengthening educational foundation. Would you rather climb through a 3rd-story window or enter at the ground floor? Adding some foundational progressive building blocks could only enhance and strengthen the WASD theater curriculum. We teach music theory, we teach art theory, but theater arts theory is also imperative to understand the craft. Part of PSE's arts initiative is to offer academic support to theater teachers, so they have every advantage tailoring their curriculum without educators necessitating extensive specialized training. A solid foundation defines the craft in eye-opening ways and sets the course for those who will continue in related arts careers, while lending skill sets that benefit any career path. What resources are available and at what cost? Painted Saint Entertainment is committed to making a community investment through pro bono educational services, initially proposing sponsorship of a 1-day, 2 to 3 hour workshop to entertain shared discussions centered on understanding WASD's existing curriculum and protocols and identifying small changes that could have a big impact. This would include ongoing support to field questions or lend foundational guidance upon request. This offering is extended free of cost to WASD's existing theater and ASP faculty and volunteers, as well as the theater curious who entertain future ASP involvement. The cost is free, the effort is minimal, the payoff is invaluable. WASD's already impressive theater arts programming is primed to be superior. Thank you for considering this hopeful aim to take it there by strengthening integrity, safety, and methodology to make more magic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your care for the arts and its importance in education. I have passed your card over to Dr. Sternheim. Another avenue to also bring this topic up is in our academic committee as well. So a lot of, we do a lot of work through committees, which we'll get onto later in our meeting, but for a discussion like this, that's another area you can bring that up. So thank you for your comment. That brings us to our presentation this evening. As Dr. Sternheim started last board meeting, this is kind of part 2 of a 3-part series. So what is the financial impact to WASD from cyber charter school? So Dr. Sternheim.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So from last week's presentation, we talked a little bit about the financial impact, the number of learners, the number of cyber charters. And one of the questions that was posed is based on our current enrollment, where are the students like essentially coming from, or where are they essentially, where is the enrollment? So from an elementary perspective, at this, again, a fluid document, we're looking at 97 learners from the elementary, so that'd be K to 5. 6 to 8 would be 89, and high school would be 200. If we continue, then we'll break down based on the grade level. You'll see we actually have kindergarten learners in a cyber charter within the district. And then as you notice there, the numbers do tend to increase with most of our learners being in 5th grade. Moving on then to the specifics by the individual schools, 42 from Fairview, 16 from Hooverville, 20 from Maury, and 19 from Summit View. And then going, looks like one of the, I apologize. I skipped one. So Mr. Erickson, can we, oh, there we go. I apologize. So then we continue then with 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So those are the numbers that represent the number of learners that are enrolled in cyber charter by grade levels. I apologize. Then going on specifically to the individual elementary schools, obviously 6 to 8 and 9 to 12 are reflected among WAMs and WASHs. And then in terms of what are the top reasons for attendance in cyber charter, what we've had to rely on is what our admin could provide as information. So unfortunately, 35% of our learners, it's essentially unknown. 21%, which is alarming to me, have never been enrolled in the Waynesbury School District, 14% parental choice, 13% attendance, 8% related to behavior, 5% medical. On and off is something that we essentially decided to label. These are individuals or learners who have, over the course of their education, have attended the Waynesbury School District and then go to a cyber charter, then return to the Waynesboro School District, go back to a cyber charter, and then it should be 0.08% are considered homeless. So in terms of next steps, what we hope to do is look at those individuals that have never been enrolled in the Waynesboro Area School District, and Officer Gordon, as well as Mr. Steve Lane, who runs our cyber program at the high school, will be visiting, and in the hopes of trying to encourage them to return to the Waynesboro School District. We also have a number of individuals that we believe have we think there's some residency concerns. So we want to ensure that these individuals are still living within the Waynesboro Area School District, since essentially we are paying tuition costs for their children to attend outside cyber schools. So in essence is the hope is that we can bring some of our learners back, making sure that they're aware of our services as well as the extracurriculars we offer, and hopefully to be able to again encourage them to return to the Waynesboro School District and hopefully reduce the cost of cyber charter to our district. Questions?
Are cyber charter students allowed to participate in sports and clubs and activities?
They are permitted to participate in our sports.
Okay.
What would have to happen is they essentially fill out an application and it's reviewed by our Director of Student Services. And assuming they meet the eligibility, the interesting thing is that, you know, we do have great eligibility that we would have to track through the
Right.
cyber charter. We have the opportunity to actually, if I'm correct with this, Dr. Holtzman, to charge them an activity fee, if you will, for participating, but at this point, we do not. But those are case by case basis of cyber charter students who elect to participate in our sports.
So do we have
Mhm.
any, many, or just a
No,
few?
just a handful. Normally, the applications, I would say between 10 to 12 over the
10 to
course.
12?
And
Okay.
at this point, I think they're all from the senior high school.
Okay.
So
Curious.
we have the capabilities of basically educating these students with just what we do here in the district. And it would eliminate the need for them to have to go outside to get an outside charter school.
Right.
Yeah, because, and then, you know, we don't get a chance to like oversee the funding that happens, the 4 million that we spend, and just updated the audit. They did an audit of one of Commonwealth Charter Academy, and they used $2.4 million to provide $400 a month fuel stipends to its employees who work in family service centers. And that's the one. And then there's another one where they spend 419,000. PA Distance Learning Center spent $414,614 on advertising and promotion during the 2023-24 school year. Things that they advertise on Google, Facebook ads, digital and promotional advertising ads. So there's really, like I said, we mentioned the last time, there's no oversight on the spending that goes that actually the tax we pay as taxes that go to pay for this. So that's one of the things that we're trying to get sort of the community to speak up on, is the fact that we can educate, as the superintendent mentioned, we can educate these kids ourselves with our own in-house charter program or cyber program, and eliminate the need for having to spend $4 million of our taxpayers, local taxpayers' dollars to fund the charter schools. My 2 cents.
Anything else for Dr. Sternheim?
Yeah, I had a question. If they all came back to the school, would there be? Like, it's not gonna happen, but I mean,
Sure. So if you look at the individual numbers, going back to the presentation, we could easily fold into it. Like it would, I think the high school, because that's where the bubble is, it would be a little more problematic. But within the high school right now, we have a very fluid schedule with, you know, early to college, the ability to take APEX courses. But that's why if you drill down, I'm not going to say that there might not be pockets of concern, but if you like, Fairview Elementary currently has like 600 some students, so that's adding 42 additional students, adding 16 students to Hooverville, you know, 20 to Maury, 19 to Summitview. It's like, we will not be to capacity. So there is the possibility that one of the class sizes might be a little larger. But this is also not broken down here based on the number of special education students though. So that might be more of an issue, let's say if it's a self-contained student. But then I would also be very concerned if a student that's would have been traditionally in a self-contained classroom here in the district is actually on some type of cyber charter program.
Anything else? Thank you, Dr. Sternheim.
Thank you.
We do not have any student board reports this evening, so we will go down to board reports. So we will start with policy committee. Mr. Pence, anything to add for this evening?
yeah, policy committee met, March 27th. We have 3 policies that are in first reading, 222, which is, tobacco and vaping for students, 323, which is tobacco and vaping for employees. We have 2 different ones there. And then 247 hazing.
Alrighty, thank you, Mr. Pence. Dr. Royer, anything for academic committee?
No, we haven't met since the last board meeting. Our next meeting is, May 6th. Dr. LaShawn.
Yes, that's correct. 2 to 3:30.
2 o'clock.
All right. Facilities, Mr. Smith.
Facilities next meeting will be at Hooverville Elementary at 5:30 on April the 15th.
And then budget committee is not met since last board meeting. The next meeting is next Monday, the 14th, here at Clayton Ave at 5:30 PM. That will then bring us to business. So the first item of business is the student waiver. The motion that is on, or I will entertain a motion to approve the student waiver as shared with the board in the Friday folder. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Since this is a discipline matter, we will not discuss anymore now, unless there is a wish to go into executive session. Being none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the student waivers as shared, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. That will then bring us down to personnel. Dr. DeShawn.
Good evening, Ms. Marva. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we have a number of personnel items we're seeking your approval for. We have 2 resignations of support staff. Appreciate their time with us. There are 6 appointments for support staff, which range from paraeducation support to van assistance with some of our learners. And then we have 2 reassignments we're seeking approval for. 1 extracurricular appointment. We have 1 change in work days for a receptionist. Appointment to summer staff maintenance, a number of folks there. And then we have 3 support staff appointments for substitute staff supports. And then we do have an administrative staff recommendation we're seeking your approval. That's Mr. Tom Hoffman for our human resource director, replace Ms. Colleen Gildee, who was in the house tonight with his wife. And he has prepared a 30-minute speech presentation.
Hey, public comments 5 minutes. You got to keep it to 5. I know it's hard to compress that, so.
You want to say anything, Mr. Hoffman? You don't have to.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Glad, well, pending approval, we're glad you're on board. And then we have, 3 requests for leave, seeking approval for.
Ready, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the personnel as listed?
Move to approve.
Second.
You have a first and a second. Any other additional questions?
Tommy, have you really been the basketball coach for the last 25 years? I didn't realize it had been that long. Huh? Congrats.
Alrighty. Well, we have a first and a second. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Happy to say that that motion carries. Mr. Hoffman, thank you very much for your years of serving you have already given. And thank you very much for this new aspect that you are embarking on. So we greatly appreciate it. That then brings us to item number 3, which is a discussion only item. This is a first reading of policies, as Mr. Pence mentioned. Tobacco and vaping products for students, hazing, and then tobacco and vaping products for employees. So again, this is a first review. Is there any discussion or questions before it goes back to policy committee for until we bring it back for a second reading at a future board meeting? So actually, Mr. Pence, anything to say on these particular items before I open it up?
Very minor changes.
Okay.
Nothing, bettering. There was some in the hazing policy. There was some verbiage that you could find It goes, we decide.
Okay.
Update the count.
Well, that's a matter of definition. What jumping jack is extreme for me.
Extreme's better than calisthenics.
I think my drill sergeant would have some comment on what extreme calisthenics are and are not. So, but any comments or questions that we can give to the policy committee on these three items?
Officer Gordon was here to.
Okay, very good. Well, again, policy committee will discuss these or review these again before they are brought back for a second reading before we approve them at that meeting. So please reach out to Mr. Pence or anyone on the policy committee, or feel free to attend that meeting for any public comments relating to these three policies. So thank you. We now move to 2025 deputy tax collectors. This is you, Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we just asked for approval. This is the updated list of the deputy tax collectors. These are the individuals who would theoretically take over should there be a need sometime before selection.
Thank you. So is there a motion to approve the attached 2025 deputy tax collectors?
So moved.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote then. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries.
Thank you.
Drivers. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. We just have one driver for the district and one for Heck Myers. And again, they've passed the required background check.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the drivers as listed?
So moved.
Second.
Have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries. We now move to the purchase of cafeteria equipment.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll run down through those. We have a little over 200 pieces of equipment, so we're typically replacing at least 7 to 10 pieces a year. So you have a couple pieces of equipment here. We're probably going to look at doing some more here maybe by this summer. The funds come from the food service department, so they're required to pay for their own equipment. They're operating as an enterprise fund. We did receive multiple bids. This company had the lowest bid meeting our requirements.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Holtzman. So is there a motion to approve the purchase of food service equipment from Douglas Equipment in the amount of $64,399.65?
Just a clarification. The food service is an enterprise fund. It's self-amortizing and there's no tax money that goes into it, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, but I would say that there's probably a slight exception to that, and that is bad debt. So bad debt does roll over to the general fund
Yeah.
per USDA requirement at the end of the year. So
Well,
that
some
piece
of ours get
theoretically
stuck
could be
with that,
incurred.
yeah.
Right. Now, we still try to collect it, but theoretically, you could see some tax money going at that stage. But
Is there a motion?
So moved.
First, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Smith. Any additional questions or comments or clarifications? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Who carries? All right, that brings us to the electric agreements for 2028 and 2029.
thank you. Yes, sir. So if you remember, we just, I think, had the 27 approved not that long ago. But the rates are now becoming more favorable for 28 and 29. At one point, the rates were just that much higher. It wasn't even worth looking at. But now, fortunately, the rates are starting to look a little bit more competitive. So the joint purchasing group is asking all the school districts to approve extensions through 28 and 29, and that way we can purchase electricity when we think it's competitive enough and available. Again, oftentimes we're purchasing not the bulk of it at one shot. Typically, we're purchasing it in typically 25% to 50% groupings. for each of those years. So we'll make a decision as a group and then maybe wait a couple months and see where the rates are and then make another decision. So that way we kind of try to blend the best and most competitive rates we can get for but these contracts allow us to go out that far.
Thank you, Dr. Holtzman. So is there a motion to approve the direct energy electricity agreements for 2028 and 2029?
Will move.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other questions for Dr. Holtzman about this?
The only question I have is, the 9 cent per KW, that does not include the delivery cost, correct?
That's correct. It's only generation. That's
Okay.
not the delivery, right? Right. Yeah, unfortunately, the deliveries, through the local West Penn and such are always an additional.
9% included, I'd say buy more.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're welcome.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Who carries?
Thank you.
All right, our next item is the 2025-2026 CSIU e-service rates. Taking that one. Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. Sorry. So, and I apologize. I'm just realizing now that actually the motion should say 25-26. I must have.
Up under recommended action, yeah, it still says
Yeah, it
24,
still says
25.
24-25. My apologies. So
Okay.
I probably copied it from the last
Oh.
time. So, but it would really be 25-26. So this is our agreement with software. So we use this for, everything from finance to purchasing to, some inventory, things of that nature. We used to do, well, I'm sorry, I should say we used to use it for purchasing and tax bills. We don't do that anymore, which has saved us some money over the years. We typically use it just for finance and HR at this stage. So I think we put some of the different, modules in up at the top there.
So the motion is to approve the agreement with CSIU for the 25-26 school year. The modules are listed for document management, purchasing, accounts payable, a C-scan, station license, fund accounting, HR, and payroll. So is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
There a second?
Second.
First and a second. Any additional questions or comments for Dr. Holtzman? Seeing none, we will go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Who carries?
Thank you. Sorry about the 24-25.
Oh, that's all right. Alrighty, so this next item is a discuss only. So this is for the board to have a discussion. We've had two presentations in a row, one on budget, and then the one last time on potential facility upgrades, in particular the elementary accessibility projects and then the WAMS gym project. So this is an opportunity for the board to either ask questions that can be or folks attempt the answer here, or we can bring them to our budget or facilities committee. As a reminder, both of those committees are meeting next week. And facilities will be at Hooverville, one of the places for the accessibility project. So I will stop talking now and let other folks, if they have questions or comments they would like to share about either of these two projects.
Robin, is there a list of all of the, and I apologize, I haven't looked, of all the facility projects that are in the budget, are they outlined in detail, or is it just one number? Can we get a list somewhere of everything that you're proposing for in the next year's budget?
Sure. You mean in terms of outside of the elementary
Well,
and
I mean,
middle
I'm
school
assuming we're
project?
doing other things other than just the accessibility project in the Williams Gym. Are we-
Sure.
it.
So I can speak to it. I can give you some more information on there, but I think right now there were only two items we really had out there. We typically put about $200,000 into that annual cost for capital projects. The North Bridge is going to take about $135,000 of that, $140,000 of that when we put all the costs into that one. And then, so with that left us with about $60,000. At this point, we're kind of holding that in place. We have the Fairview boiler out there that we're still waiting on an insurance result for. That could be $50,000 to replace that unit over there. So at this point, we have not made any other decisions or recommendations for the rest of that.
I had read something earlier about, like Fairview was having an issue with some of the facing on their building.
We have, so what we did is we did a short-term fix, and short-term could be 1, 2, 3 years, depending on how successful it is. But we did put a couple $1,000s into basically drilling and putting in a larger type washer and screw system to fasten those panels against the wooden facade or fascia that's up on the roof line.
Okay.
We're kind of hoping that as a short-term fix, and again, short-term could be a couple years, depending on the success of it. If not, then we're gonna have to gauge somebody to come back in and take a look at what our other options are. That was one of those very expensive projects to replace everything. We thought that's just too much. So we'll look at something else if we have to go down that path.
And just one other question. I was at Fairview today. Is carpeting at Fairview anywhere on the horizon?
Not on the short-term list, no, ma'am. So, but yeah, the carpeting certainly on the ramps and such, and you know, there's some carpeting needs absolutely always. I don't want to say it's original to the building, but somebody could probably correct me and tell me it is original
think
to
it
the
is.
building.
Portions.
Been there quite a long
I
time.
just know the
Yeah.
difference of taking that carpeting out of Mallory made,
Made a difference.
you know,
yeah.
in terms of the atmosphere. And I think people can say it doesn't affect the air quality, but it sure feels like it did.
Any other questions or comments for either for the board or Dr. Holtzman, or things you would like the facilities committee to discuss? Dr. Holtzman, correct me, did you have something, Mr. Smith? Correct me, Dr. Holtzman, with these two projects, the proposed or the proposed funding is to go out to either look for a bond, or potentially, because of the amount is underneath the threshold, we could possibly pursue bank financing.
Right.
So that would be how these projects will be funded. And the annual cost to the district would be, if I'm remembering correctly, 200 to potentially 300,000 a year.
Right. Well, and that's for next year. So ultimately, we would have to pay that amount back. But the idea is that we would, basically, our current debt falls off around 2033. So the bulk of that payments would then occur the next 2 years after that. So of course, you still have to pay back the full $4 to $5 million,
Correct.
whatever ultimately the amount would be. But right in the short term, next year's budget, it's 300,000. And then that would stay in that budget until basically 2033. And don't be alarmed when I say all of a sudden we have a bulk of an additional payment to make. It's at the same time that we have other debt falling off. So our actual bond service debt those years would be relatively the same. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but basically it's almost as if your mortgage was finally falling off and you decided to refinance something at that point. And so that your payments each month didn't change, but
Do you have a timeline for this? As far as going to bid and so on?
sure, elementary is out to bid at right now for the elementary. The middle school project is not. That would probably, we just had some discussions with the architects today. In fact, we're gonna have a conversation tomorrow morning. Most likely the middle school project, best case scenario is it would possibly start around Christmas instead of this summer. But really, I think we probably would end up just pushing it off till next summer and do the summer and fall like we had originally talked about. There would be some advantages in waiting a year, just because right now things are a little bit in flux in terms of tariffs and things of that nature. So
A little bit in flux.
Yeah. so we just had that conversation probably
portfolio.
about 3 or 4 hours ago. Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, I think this was a couple of years in the making of making decisions and sort of prioritizing some of the needs of the facilities. As I think was mentioned in our last meeting, our buildings are, like our youngest building is like 50 years old. Was that the case?
Correct.
And so just investing in the facilities, this is kind of a conservative fix, if you will, to try to upgrade some of our buildings. And eventually, and I know people probably won't want to hear this, but at some point, we're going to have to stop patching up and adding to our buildings and actually build something new. And I don't know if I'll be on the board when that happens, but eventually.
2038, the next kindergarten class.
Right. Yeah, so, but it is time, you know, we have to do some upgrades, and that's just kind of breaking even with the needs. We use a lot more, but just kind of breaking even with some of the upgrades and that we are suggesting or recommending.
I think one of the challenges we've discussed within facilities is the ever-evolving world of special education and the need for self-contained classrooms. And so doing one of the discussion points we had in facilities is doing always some of the elementary accessibility enables a lot more flexibility special education wise across all 4 elementary schools. Potentially. And then also, we think with the Williams gym, that's a heavy usage area. And so, updating that as well, is one of the things we've been discussing for a number of years for that. So, facilities has visited both the middle school and Summit View, on our spring tour, we'll call it. So we'll be at Hooverville, as was mentioned, next week. So. Any other questions or items for discussion? Right, if not, please forward questions to I'll say Dr. Holtzman and Dr. Sternheim so that we can discuss them in our budget committee and our facility committee meetings. Those meetings are also open to the public. And so, as I typically say, our budget meetings are riveting. Please come. I have a lot of fun. I also love Excel spreadsheets, so that might just be unique to me and Mr. Hamburger. So
You're the financial guy.
yeah, so but those are open to the public, and so we do invite folks to come in and see kind of what we're doing and talking about. So that is something that I think would you know be helpful if you had something on these 2 projects. So I will go ahead and close discussion on that. We have as you remember with the elementary accessibility, all that was a vote to go out to bid. It did not obligate us to anything. And we are not currently obligated to anything right now with the Williams gym. So this was just an opportunity to discuss the potential of those 2 projects. We're not currently obligated to anything.
Will we be approving those as a board vote, or will we be approving those funds for those projects through bypassing the budget?
We would have to approve the actual projects themselves, the bids. We would have to approve the bids themselves.
Okay, so by passing the budget as it stands now doesn't,
No,
Give approval.
no, it doesn't obligate you to go forward with any type of a project. So we would keep the capacity in the budget. So if you
Correct,
don't
correct.
utilize it, then it just doesn't get utilized. But it doesn't authorize us to go out and issue the bonds, I think, which would be a good question. And ergo, then we wouldn't incur the additional cost. So I hope that answered your question, but yeah,
yeah, thank you.
it's a good question. Yeah, thank you.
Very good question, Victor. So just to make reiterate clear, passing the budget does not obligate us to do these projects either.
Right.
We will vote on these projects as a separate item.
Right.
Right. Thank you all. That will bring us then to this item, the asbestos mitigation project. So, Dr. Holzman.
Yes, sir. So one of the small things we noticed that it really wasn't picked up until we did a kind of a say a pre-bid meeting with the contractors is that we did have a small area at Summit View that has asbestos on it, unfortunately. And again, it's not friable. There's no problems or issues with it at this point. We have, this product in a lot of our buildings in different areas. Again, age of our buildings are not very young. So this is one item we would like to try to mitigate because it is affected by that project. So if we move forward with the elementary project, this has to be really done kind of before that project starts. So what it would do is it would remove floor tile in a hallway as well as remove a heater in the ceiling that has asbestos.
And Dr. Holzman, by moving forward with this, again, this does not obligate us to the future project. This is just solely dealing with the Summit View mitigation.
Solely dealing with that. And what's nice about this is we can hold this. We have bids coming in next week, the 17th. for the project. That will probably give us a good direction, at least. If the bids come in significantly different than our expectations, we would probably say, well, let's not move forward on this at this time. So, my game plan at this point is we're not doing this for the Easter project. They have to give 10 days notice. So we're not trying to get it shoehorned in and make it happen by Easter. So this is something really that's probably going to happen much closer. If we go forward with the project, would happen closer to June, end of May and June time period. Okay, does that make sense? So again, if we approve this now, it's still, again, it doesn't obligate us to actually do the work yet until such time as we know we're moving forward.
Holtzman. So is there a motion to approve an asbestos mitigation project at Summitview Elementary School in preparation for, I'll say potential accessibility projects? Cost not to exceed $12,510. So is there a motion to approve?
No more.
Second.
I have a first from Mr. Smith and I'll say Mr. Hamburger as the second. Any questions or comments on this item for Dr. Holtzman? Again, we have a first and a second, so I'll just read the motion to approve the asbestos mitigation project. Some of you elementary school in preparation for accessibility projects, cost not to exceed $12,510. So not seeing any additional questions or discussion, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That brings us then to our financial business. Dr. Holtzman, bring us home. Purchase orders and bills for payment.
Yes, sir. Just one group of items, so to speak. Those are requisitions and also payments. That's for the general fund as well as the cafeteria fund. And again, we always put that, we have two formats in there. That was a request at one point by the board. Doesn't take really any work to do that, but that's why we have it in there twice at one point. So it kind of lists them, one's more detailed in accounts versus the other. So just a different way to look at the same data.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the purchase orders and bills for payment?
No move.
Mr. Smith is the first. Is there a second?
Second.
Miles, thank you. Any discussion or questions? All right, we will go ahead and move to a vote then. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, Clayton Cabinet comments. Anything from our Clayton Cabinet team would like to say?
Dr. Holtzman wants to connect to me.
Dr. Holtzman.
Just a question. We had talked about this before.
Yeah.
Real quick one, as you remember the fair funding lawsuit, and we're receiving this adequacy funding right now. So that we're seeing that funding this year and they have it projected for next year. We just started looking at something else too as well. You're familiar with the homestead farmstead, which is a reduction of your property taxes for owner occupied properties. It's about 7,700 homes in our community that receive that benefit. About $143, I think, was this current year's benefit to that. We don't receive any benefit from that because basically what it does is it reduces your property taxes. And so from the school district perspective, we don't receive additional funds or, spend additional funds, but essentially what happens is the state gambling funds come through and you receive a little bit of a discount. We kind of looked into this a little bit. We saw all the other state data out there. Our community is getting less than half of what the average Pennsylvania school district receives. So wonder of wonders, this is Pennsylvania. We create inadequacy and unfair funding on a regular basis. And now our homeowners are receiving the unfortunate side of this. So the average in the state is about $300. So again, we're just underneath of that 150 mark at this point. We put some information together. We went out and found out that the data, not surprisingly again, really, is that it's stuck in 2001 to 2005 era information. So while it could be updated, state has not updated this information. So we did contact our local representative, state senator, even Mike Ross, because I know he gets to talk to a lot of people as well. But, from our perspective, this should be an opportunity that as more funding comes into that channel, we should have more of a benefit for the people that live in the community here. And again, and what's interesting was we looked at the data. Unfortunately, almost all of Franklin County is in that same situation. They're all in that same area where we're at as well, unfortunately. So I don't know why that is, but
Is there a formula?
there is, but it's stuck in the 2001 to 2005 era. So
Well, that's about 20 years ahead of our assessment.
Yeah, right, very true. So anyway, one of those things that I think is important that, we should try to address and try to, lobby and advocate for. So, because again, everybody in the community would benefit. So it's about the equivalent of probably what, 7 or 8 mills, when you think about it that way. Nice savings. That was it? Yeah.
Anything else from our Clayton County team? All right, we'll move down then to board member comments. Anything from our school board? Want to comment on this evening? A warm, sunny evening that we all wanted to get out into.
Right.
All right, well, thank you all for your time this evening. I do appreciate the time you go into not only spending here, but also being prepared for what we discuss each board meeting evening and for your work on the various committees of the board. So thank you all, and thank you for everyone that was here tonight. So in closing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
First, or second? I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.